Veronica presents Part 13 of the AI Repertory Theater's production of Lorene on the Lam by Marie Elena Zuniga. Lorene is headed for Nashville with Splat and Josh Montgomery, who is the man who hired Splat, to kill his wife. Let's listen in. Chapter 60. Lies. Nothing but lies. That's what men had always done, and that's what Splat had done. Sure, he was going to murder someone, but it wasn't Josh Montgomery, who now drove out of town and onto the main highway back to Nashville. She hadn't figured on Montgomery being so heartless, wanting to murder his wife and all. But fame and fortune probably got the best of him, as it did most folks who were once normal. Probably wanted to off her so he wouldn't have to pay a huge settlement in a public divorce and then run off with the current bimbo of the month. Or at least, that's how those situations read in the tabloids.
So this broad, she's an escaped con?
Montgomery asked. He powered down the window and flicked out his cigar, ashes sparking red in the dark of the night. Splat started giggling, like a girl, and couldn't stop himself, annoying Montgomery.
Gosh darn it, man! I'm paying you a ton of money. Talk to me!
She sure is. Not only that, she's the ex-con who stole your tour bus. How about that for a small world?
Montgomery slowed down, and Lorene could see the anger in his face as he barked at Splat in the rearview mirror.
You idiot! This is going to tie her straight to me!
But it's perfect, Josh. Don't you get it?
Splat said in a calmer voice.
It's gonna tie her straight to your wife's murder, not you. What could be better? She was in prison, got one of them crushes on you, stole the bus and became a crazed fan who had to kill your wife so she could be with you. Don't you see how it all works out perfectly?
Carmela would have loved this. Always the perfect plan at work in the universe. Montgomery seemed to be pondering all this and laid on the gas pedal again.
All right, but remember, I was in the recording studio when all this happened. I've already taken care of that end of things. A late-night recording session and then drinks with a friend who will back me up.
Lorene had always let men take advantage of her, but she couldn't allow them to pin this murder on her. She had to figure a way out of this. But with the Nashville lights blinking in the distance and growing closer, and Splat still holding a gun to her head, Lorene's options seemed slimmer and slimmer. Chapter 61. The car drove on the interstate around Nashville, and then headed toward the open, hilly countryside of Leaper's Fork, an area that Lorene had heard was being populated by some of the big stars, like Tim and Faith, Nicole and Keith, the Judds, and, of course, Josh Montgomery and his wife. If she wasn't being kidnapped and about to be forced to commit murder, she might have enjoyed the scenery. Although at night all she saw was an occasional light glimmering from someone's window or front porch. They traveled a few miles down a narrow country road flanked with thick woods and turned up a slight rise, then stopped a distance from a large iron gate. At least, what Lorene could make of it.
Out here!
Montgomery ordered.
I'm not letting my security cameras pick up my car, and you know how to get inside where I told you.
Montgomery turned to Splat. Even though the singer had been a handsome man in his day, his face showed the scarred trophies of touring, partying, and drinking.
Don't mess up,
he shouted.
Payment will be waiting where I told you.
Lorene found her voice at last.
I thought you was a pillar of society, a gosh-danged icon in country music. And here you are, no better than a common killer.
Montgomery didn't move, just stared ahead and spoke in a creepy monotone, as if he was writing the words to a country song.
Killing is easy. Staying alive, that's what's hard.
With those chilling words, he ordered Splat and Lorene out of the car and drove off into the night. She wasn't sure how Splat was going to do this, as surely the security cameras would pick him up. And what was to stop her from just running away? Well, he'd shoot her. There was that. The night was thick with a chorus of critters, heavy with the smell of honeysuckle as they trudged up the long driveway to the mansion. Splat had the flashlight turned off, the moon offering enough light for both of them to see. Instead of going to the gates, Splat veered Lorene to the right side, where they traveled the length of a high stone wall, finally reaching a door. Splat opened it, and they entered a courtyard of some kind, with a swimming pool, the water rippling like rhinestones in the light of the moon.
Now do as I say, or you'll be as dead as the soon-to-be departed Mrs. Montgomery.
They walked up to a house that looked like one of those swanky, oversized mansions she had seen in magazines. Then to some double doors. French. That's what they called them on that reality TV show about bored housewives or some such nonsense. Splat pulled a key from his pants pocket, stuck it into the lock, and opened the doors. Montgomery must have disabled any alarm systems. Sweat was dripping off Lorene's forehead and nose as they entered a library and then found a spiral staircase. Her hands were shaking hard, and she felt like she might pee right here on this fancy white carpeting. Splat still had the gun nudged into her back.
Try anything and you know what happens.
They walked up the steps, passing framed photos lining the wall. Of Montgomery performing at the Opry. Of Montgomery and other country stars like Reba and Toby. Of Montgomery and his wife standing next to the governor of Tennessee and his wife. Talk about fooling the public. They reached a long hallway with doors and stopped at one. It had to be the bedroom of Mrs. Montgomery. Lorene couldn't swallow or speak. Bile came up into her throat. This was it. She knew what was going to happen. Splat was going to kill Montgomery's wife, kill her, and then wipe off his prints and put the gun in Lorene's hands. She had heard such stories in prison, but didn't think she'd ever be part of such a crime. She was about to die, and there was nothing she could do but pray for a miracle. If ever she needed divine intervention, it was now. Lorene began to pray. Chapter 62. The strange woman stood by the police car as the officer talked into his intercom. She looked like someone who might be called white trash in these parts. But right now, given Gert's passing, Emily wanted to be a good Christian. She stood on the front porch listening to the woman ranting in high-pitched shrieks that hadn't stopped since the officer had hauled her from the woods.
Get your filthy hands off me! I don't need no police around me! Not your kind! Wife beaters! All of you!
The woman who called herself Sister Sarah was outside with the ranting woman, trying to calm her down. She seemed the type that would be good at that, soothing a body. The ambulance had already taken Ace, and Emily was grateful. It looked like a superficial wound, but she was no medical expert. Then there was the matter of Gert upstairs. Too much was happening at once, and Emily felt a bit lightheaded. The woman had been handcuffed and was still fussing and fuming that she had done nothing wrong and was being treated like a criminal when it was her husband who should be locked up. Emily wondered what she had done, other than having the misfortune of hooking up with Lorene. As Emily stood there, watching the officer giving information over his intercom, she heard the woman shout,
You're after the wrong person! It's that Buffington Splat you want! Said he was going to kill Josh Montgomery! If I was you, I'd be hunting him right now. He's out there close by, and God knows what he might do to get to Josh Montgomery. Good old Josh might be deader'n a doornail right now. And all because you got me handcuffed here instead of Splat!
No sooner had the strange woman spoken the words, the phone rang. Emily wasn't going to answer it, as she wanted to see what happened next. But given the strange circumstances of the day, it could be something important. It was. Police Chief Officer Purdy was calling to talk to Gert. Emily swallowed hard.
Sorry, Officer Purdy. Gert just passed away.
There was silence on the other end until Purdy said,
My condolences.
he hesitated, as if wanting to say more, and finally spoke.
I hear Lorene made it there, and the state police just arrived. I'm on my way to the house now, Emily. Now don't you let that gal get away, hear?
Emily said nothing and waited.
I reckon I should also tell you about Mac Johnson. Seems the police out in New Mexico finally located Olivia McClune and her brother Sammy, and they have news about Mac.
Emily sat down in a nearby chair, trying to catch her breath. She felt giddy, the excitement making her feel flushed and feverish. Nothing like this ever happened in Red Boiling Springs. In fact, this might even be better than the time the tornado took her house and almost killed her. Chapter 63. Lorene needed to stall Splat before they went into that bedroom.
So all that talk about being in a foster home and your daddy killing your mama and hisself, you made all that up?
Nope. All true. How do you think I ended up this way?
You could have gone the straight and narrow and stuck to Bible sales, you know.
Look at the pot calling the kettle black.
Splat was right, even though she wanted to defend herself and tell him she had grown up without a daddy. But then, so had he, and even worse, watching him murder his ma. They both had choices along the way and messed up big time.
Now quit your yapping and get inside.
Splat barked.
Let's get this over with. Josh put something in her drink tonight so she'd be out cold.
But you don't gotta do this, Splat. It makes no sense. I really got a ton of money.
I heard it all before. Now get inside.
It seemed a second. It seemed forever. And in that space, Lorene thought of her life. Her mama who had just passed. Her granddaddy and what he had asked her to do. Then there was Ace. Dang. She had just met up with him again and was really hoping they might get to know each other better. But she was going to prison, or might die right here. So it looked like she and Ace getting together wasn't going to happen. Even Carmela flitted through her head. And Lorene wondered why her life had turned out the way it did. She hadn't meant to be a bad person, and if she could change it now, in this second, she would. The truth was, she could. Right now. Carmela would be proud of her. Now is all we have, she'd tell her. She might be going to her death, but at least in this moment, she could change. It might not be much, but perhaps God would consider it. She would ask God's forgiveness and hopefully make the gates of heaven. Maybe not all the way inside, but at least up to the entrance.
I need a moment to pray,
she said, catching Splat off guard.
What?
Pray. You know, talking to God, something you professed to do and lied to us as a Bible salesman. I figure if I'm gonna die, and I know that's your plan to kill me too, at least give me a second to make things right with the Lord.
Splat shot her a menacing look.
You got 1 minute.
Lorene began to whisper the Lord's Prayer, quaking inside. Was this really how it was going to end? Her shot dead in the home of Josh Montgomery? She could see the headlines in the papers now. Escaped convict murders country music star's wife in jealous rage and then kills herself. Splat was looking at his wristwatch, telling her to hurry up. She began to ask Jesus to forgive her many sins, for the times she hurt her mama, for stealing from the Walmart and from Charlie Pistol's fat wallet, for being so mean to Tilly, when a soft click caught her ear. It was the sound of a gun cocking behind her. She and Splat registered surprise at the same time and turned to face a woman holding a shotgun, aimed dead at them. She was beautiful in a weathered Dolly Parton kind of way and had a fire in her eyes.
Josh is dumber than a bag of nails. I knew he was coming for me, just wasn't sure when, but I've been ready for him. Now who the hell are you two morons?
Chapter 64. This wasn't exactly how Lorene was hoping the Lord would answer her prayers. She was trapped between Splat, who still held the gun on her, and Montgomery's wife, pointing the shotgun at them.
Put the gun down or I shoot her.
Splat said. Lorene felt like she was going to throw up.
Huh. Go on, shoot her. Don't make me no never mind. She probably came here to kill me anyway.
Lorene found her voice.
No, no! You gotta believe me, Mrs. Montgomery. I was kidnapped by this lunatic, and he was gonna pin the murder on me. You gotta believe me.
A glimmer of something changed in the eyes of Mrs. Montgomery and gave Lorene some hope.
You gotta believe me.
Lorene barged ahead and rambled on.
My mama just died in Red Boiling Springs. I stole your husband's tour bus so I could get out of prison in Houston and get to my mama in time before she died. She's gone to her maker now, and I ain't even had a chance to bury poor mama yet. When I done stole the bus, I picked up some unfortunate souls like Tilly, but that's too long a story for now, and this fella was just another one I picked up along the way out of the goodness of my heart, because he lied to me saying he was a deaf-mute Bible salesman, and he turns out to be a con man hired to murder. Well, he said it was your husband at first, and then I find out it's you he was gonna murder. And here I am, brought to your place against my will. I just wanted to get to my mama before she died. And now she's dead.
Lorene was out of breath and started to cry.
Shut up!
Splat interrupted.
No, you shut up,
Montgomery's wife said.
Sorry about your mama.
Thank you, ma'am.
Lorene sniffled.
You say Red Boiling Springs?
Yes, ma'am.
I grew up down the road from Red Boiling Springs in Carthage. Big farm down there, where I learned to hunt and use this shotgun. You know the Stewarts? My daddy used to go to Red Boiling Springs to their feed and seed because he always got a good deal there.
Ace's store?
Yes, ma'am. I know the Stewarts real good. In fact, just met up again with Ace, and this idiot done shot him. Not only do I have to bury my mama, but I gotta get back to see how he's doing.
Lorene couldn't believe she was standing there, between two loaded weapons, and having this conversation with Josh Montgomery's wife as if they were sitting in rockers on the front porch, drinking sweet tea.
I'm usually a pretty good judge of character, and must say, your tale sounds far-fetched, girl. And I'm not even gonna ask how you hooked up with Ace Stewart again.
She paused and eyed Lorene up, then down, and up again. Lorene knew she looked even worse than the devil before daylight right now.
My name's Fanny. Francine, but folks call me Fanny.
Lorene.
Splat burst in.
Well, ain't this just real purty? Like a nice ladies' social.
Not really,
Fanny said. And before Lorene knew it, she shot Splat in the right knee. Dang, Fanny was fast. And good. Splat fell to the floor, dropped his gun and screamed in pain, while Lorene stood there, not knowing what to do.
Come on, let's drag him to the bathroom. I'll tie something around his leg and he'll be fine. I tended to plenty of wounded folks when I was a nurse.
You were a nurse?
Studied to be one, but never made it. Did help out, though, at a shelter for abused women in Carthage for a time. Should have learned my lesson then that all some men want is control and power. Guess killing your woman is the ultimate power trip.
Lorene didn't know what to say and just nodded as they grabbed Splat, who was moaning in pain.
Now tell me about yourself, girl, and how you came to be here again,
Fanny said. She was huffing as they tugged Splat down the hallway, leaving behind a trail of blood.
Seems like you got here in a crazy kind of way.
Never in a million years did Lorene think she was about to say what she did.
Don't you think we should call the police?
Didn't you say you escaped from prison?
Yes, ma'am.
They'll be wanting to take you back, I reckon.
Yes, ma'am.
Fanny seemed to be pondering this as they heaved old Splat into the bathroom. He kept cursing up a storm, and every time he did, she would say,
I don't allow language like that in this house.
and then she'd kick him in the foot and he'd yelp and cry like a wounded critter. Fanny finally did take mercy on him and bandaged him, which relieved Laureen. As much as she hated Splat, she sure didn't want to be responsible for his murder. When she finished tending to Splat, Fanny stood up and wiped her bloody hands on her tight-fitting blue jeans. Then she locked the bathroom door with Splat yelling,
You can't just leave me here.
Watch me.
she said, joining Laureen in the hallway.
Now, girl, I'm gonna make us some coffee, and we'll have it with some leftover pecan pie I made yesterday. After we talk a spell, I'll call the police.
She gave Laureen a broad, sly smile as they walked down the steps to the kitchen.
I can't wait to see Josh's face when he finds out I'm still alive and that I trapped the killer to boot. Ha! He's been cheating on me for way too long, and he may think he's got friends, but I got friends too. Suspected he'd try something like this, and you're my witness to it all. I owe you, gal. Big time.
Laureen let out a sigh of relief. Maybe God did answer prayers after all. We hope you enjoyed part 13 of AIRT's production of Laureen on the Lam by Marie Elena Zuniga. For more stories, visit veronicapresents.com. You can help us grow our audience by rating and reviewing this show. Laureen on the Lam is available in print and ebook editions on Amazon.com. Thanks for listening.